All right, y'all, today we got moms can't cash out anymore. Divorce rates crash. Lawyers are panicking. I've always thought to myself, what would happen if the courts started treating divorces like a lot more equally? Because for a long time, it's always been like a guarantee that if you're a man in the relationship and you guys get divorced, you're gonna get the short end of the stick. But what would happen if the courts were just like, you know what, bump all that. We gonna start treating y'all equally. Hey man, game is game. That could be crazy. Maybe we're starting to see a result of that. Let's get right into the video and see what's going on. Make sure you guys check out my second channel, Berto2, 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 Berto2. The link to that will be in the description. We're uploading 2 to 3 videos over there as well. So we got plenty of content going out and I don't want y'all to miss it. So tap into my second channel. I love y'all, appreciate y'all. Make sure you guys tap into my Twitch stream as well. We're streaming every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Love y'all. Where you at, family? Come on, let's do it.
Where you at, Berto?
Divorces in Kentucky just collapsed by 25%. Not because couples suddenly found love again, but because the cash out game is over. For decades, divorce was treated like a jackpot. Mom walks away with the kids. Mom walks away with the check. And dad? He's reduced to a weekend visitor and a paycheck.
One state just nuked its divorce rates by doing one rare thing that the rest of America would never dare.
And
they need to.
There is a real danger that the divorce rate is going down because it's harder for women to leave.
If I have my child half the time, why am I paying full support? Like I'm not even around. I'm feeding them, clothing them, taking them to school, wiping their tears, just like she is. But somehow only I have to pay up. This system don't reward fatherhood. It punishes it.
Kentucky flipped the script. They became the first state in America to pass a law making 50-50 custody the default.
I know some of these gold digger hoes mad.
And the moment that happened, something incredible and honestly terrifying for some people was exposed. When women realized they could no longer cash out through the courts, divorce filing dropped overnight. A full quarter fewer divorces in one state compared to just 18%.
They need to make this a law across the board on some real shit. And I'm not even just looking out for my brothers here, like on some real shit. It would make everybody lock in more when it comes to relationships. Okay, you want to get married? Fine. No prenup. No, we locked in, baby. For lifers. For lifers. That's what we need. That's what we need. Because it's too easy for motherfuckers to just walk away. Nah, we locked in. Let's figure it out, baby.
Nationwide. Men call it fairness. Women's group, they call it dangerous.
Wow.
And that clash right there between fairness and fear is why this story is exploding.
There are reports coming out of Kentucky that the divorce rate has completely plummeted. 25%. It's gone down 25%. Like, that's significant. You know, when the divorce rate nationally rests, I don't know, I think a little bit above 50%. To have it drop 25% in one state means to pay attention. It's a reason to pay attention.
And here's the kicker. The money numbers prove it. Before this law, a dad making $4,000 a month would be forced to hand over nearly $10,000 a year in child support. After the new law, that drops to maybe $200 a month, sometimes zero. We're talking about a $7,500 swing in every year. Plus, something even bigger, half of his child's life back. I'll break down that math in just a moment. But first, let's talk about why this single change sent shockwaves through the divorce industry. Because let's be real, if divorce filing dropped by 25% the second the financial jackpot disappeared, what does that tell you? For years, men have been told, no, it's not about the money. Women just aren't happy. But the data speaks louder than the excuses. As soon as the reward for leaving was gone, so was the rush to file divorce. And that's why this law is stirring up a storm.
I ain't gonna lie, they need to widespread this. This is big. Like, all jokes aside, I already said it, bro. I think this would be a net positive because people would, you know, it's sad that we have to go about it this way, but people would genuinely go into marriages like wanting to stay. Like, there's no ulterior motives. There's no just running away when things get hard. It's going to be like, you know, we might as well stick this out, even from our financial standpoint, because it benefits the both of us. Why are we going to, like, there's no gain of us being separate. You know what I mean? So I think this is a net positive, honestly.
Others say it's justice. Critics say it's a trap. Women's group are arguing that it locks moms in marriages and puts kids at risk. But let's look at the bigger picture. Florida, Arkansas, West Virginia, Missouri, they've already filed Kentucky's lead. And
Really? Oh, I'm about to move back to Florida.
Now, over 20 more states are considering it. This isn't just about Kentucky. This is the beginning of the end for the divorce cash out system. The critics say this law puts women and children in danger. But when you actually look at the facts, and when you see how much the system was really built on men's wallet, you'll understand why this law isn't just saving families.
And come on, ladies, aren't y'all the strong, independent ladies building y'all businesses? And I'm not even saying that sarcastically. A lot of y'all ladies are out here being the boss bitches now, right? Y'all got y'all bag. So it's like, come on, equal fights, equal rights. Let's do it.
It's exposing the truth about modern divorce.
I don't think it's necessary. We split her 50-50. She's at my house just as much. She's with me just as much, if not more.
Your Honor, I would say that's probably an argument for her to pay me. If we're splitting 50-50, I shouldn't have to pay all of it.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. So you kind of like told on yourself. So you ready to move forward with the numbers?
Sure.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get ready with the numbers. So it looks like you make, like I said, $100,000 a year. Do you
Okay, big money baller.
work overtime, or is that regularly what you make?
No, I work overtime. But
Okay. And does that include overtime?
yes, ma'am. It's a salaried position, so it's just straight up.
All right, let's put some real numbers on this because the math is what makes it undeniable. Before Kentucky passed the 50-50, the typical story looked like this. Dad makes about $4,000 net income. Mom gets the kids 80% of the time. Dad gets every other weekend and maybe one dinner during the week. Under those guidelines, child support lands around 20% of his income. That's about $800 a month, nearly $10,000 a year, gone. And remember, that's on top of insurance, school costs, and extras
that you still got to pitch in if you a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you supposed to do as a man. You're supposed to pitch in for your son. You want to, not just your son, a son, daughter, your kids. You're supposed to show up as much as possible. So it's like, that's like the bare minimum. That's just like the on paper shit. You know, I'm talking for all the real niggas out there. I'm not talking about them bitch ass niggas that, you know, just pay the child support and they don't do nothing for their kids. I'm talking about the niggas that really show up. Like it's so much more than that.
he still has to cover. Now, after 2018 with 50-50 custody as a default, same dad, same income, but now he has his kids half the time, which means child support gets offset. Instead of $800 a month, he might pay maybe $200 to $300 a month. In some cases, if mom makes close to the same amount, he pays nothing, zero. That's not just $7,500 a year staying in his pocket. That's also half of his child's life back. He's not just a paycheck anymore. He's a parent again. And this is where things get heated. Because if you think men celebrated, you're right. But women's groups, they lost their minds. They say this law traps women in bad marriages and puts kids in danger.
Traps women in bad marriages. I mean, does it not? If a woman is trapped in a bad marriage, then that nigga trapped in a bad marriage too. Like, again, it's the same difference.
But when you actually look at what people on the ground are saying, the story looks very different. Top male comment. If divorces drop by 20%, the second child support dries up. That proves it was never about happiness. It was about the money. Another father says, for once, courts don't see me as just a wallet. This is the first time in decades I feel like an equal parent. A mom's comment. I'm in a Kentucky mom group and women are literally deciding whether to leave their husbands based off of this law. It's hard for them now. Someone responds to. Hard for them? You mean hard because they can't cash out anymore. This isn't trapping women. It's finally equality. This is what makes this law explosive. For men, it's not just about saving money. It's about finally being seen as more than just disposable. For critics, it's the end of a system they quietly benefited from for decades. And that clash, fairness versus fear, equality versus entitlement, is exactly why this debate is spreading beyond Kentucky. Because here's the part no one wants to admit. If one state can cut divorce by 25% just by removing the financial jackpot,
so imagine what if all 50 states start stamping that motherfucker. It's over with.
What happens when the entire country follows? Now, not everyone cheered when this law passed. Women's group came out swinging. Their biggest claim? That equal custody traps women in abusive marriages. They argue that judges sometimes overlook abuse.
Which is true. And, you know, again, for those select scenarios, that sucks. But again, what does this do? It forces you. It puts so much more pressure on the woman and the man to not rush into marriages. So if you are in an abusive relationship and you seeing all the red flags that a nigga is putting you through and it's like, yo, this nigga is not suitable to be my husband as a woman, then don't marry that nigga. When he get down on that knee, tell him no. And I know it's not that black and white, but You know, instead of y'all rushing into marriage after 1 year or 2 years, like you really gonna take your time with that vetting process. And I know that's not just gonna be a snap finger and fix everybody's problem, but I'm sure we'll even see that abuse rate in marriages go down as well. Motherfuckers gonna have to start really thinking shit through again.
Unless the father directly harms the child. And yes, there's horror stories floating around. One mother said her husband nearly killed her. And just weeks later, a judge still granted him 50-50 custody. That story spread like wildfire. So critics are painting this law as dangerous, not just unfair, but unsafe. And on the surface, it sounds scary. But when you dig deeper, you realize something else is going on here, exposing the gray areas. Here's the truth. A lot of what gets labeled domestic violence in family court falls into what lawyers call the gray area. Things like yelling during an argument, breaking
Yeah, that's not domestic violence.
a dish, punching a wall, even
I mean, that nigga's emotionally challenged, but it's not domestic violence.
blocking a doorway. In California, smashing a glass in the middle of a fight can be treated as DV. Now,
What?
I'm not saying those behaviors are good, but should
Wow.
a dad lose custody of his child because he raised his voice once or broke a phone in an argument? That's exactly what
I'm glad I'm hearing this. I will never live in those tapes.
used to happen. Before Kentucky's law, those gray areas claimed could tilt custody completely in mom's favor. Equal custody stopped that. Judges now start at 50-50, meaning those small ambiguous incidents don't automatically strip a father away from his children.
So most of y'all know by now that I had a restraining order put on me after 4 years. That's 4 years after the first custody battle. The whole reason why I got a restraining order thrown on me was because I did videos like this. I spoke up explaining why men are giving up on their children, why, just pretty much why, because no one cares why. But if I keep speaking, enough people will start listening to where I can try and get through to some people's heads.
And here's what's wild. The same people who call this law dangerous are the ones who spent years shouting about equality. But the second equality means women don't get a financial advantage. Suddenly, it's oppression. I'll show you what real equality looks like in a minute and why kids actually do better under shared parenting. But first, let's check the pulse of what people are really saying. Father's comment. This law saved my relationship with my kids. Before, I was a visitor. Now I'm a dad again. Mom, this is a death of a family system. Women and children will suffer. Male response, death of a system? No, it's the death of your free ride. This is the core battle right now. Fathers see this law as justice, finally leveling up the court system that treated them like second-class parents. Critics see it as patriarchy, a rollback of leverage in marriage. And the reason the debate is so emotional is simple. When you take away the financial reward for divorce, you expose what divorce was really built on. Let's zoom out for a second, because while the critics are shouting about danger, the research paints a completely different picture. Study after study show that kids do better with shared parenting. They perform better in school.
Obviously.
They have fewer behavior problems.
Obviously.
And they grow up with healthier views of relationships because they didn't lose a parent in the process. In fact, one of the most powerful comments I saw was from a father who said, "For the first time, my kids don't feel like they're visiting anymore. They feel like they actually live with me."
Yeah.
That's not just a financial win for
That's a big difference.
men. That's a generational win for children. And here's the part that's going to flip the divorce industry upside down. This isn't stopping with Kentucky. This law is spreading fast. And when it goes nationwide, the system built on cashing men out may not survive. As of this year, 20 more states are considering similar bills. Judges and lawmakers are calling it the new standard of equality. One Kentucky judge put it perfectly. You can't write laws for all families based off the worst case scenarios. And men knows what this means. If one state drops divorce by 20%, shook the system, imagine what happens when dozens of states follow. We're talking about billions of lawyer fees gone, child support revenues slashed, and an entire divorce industry scrambling to survive. One father's comment, "This isn't just equality, this is finally justice. Every state needs this law." Critics comment, "This is the death of the divorce system. Women will be trapped." Male response, "No, women aren't trapped. They're just not incentivized to blow families up anymore." So here's the truth men needs to hear. This isn't just about child support, it's about leverage. For decades, the divorce system gave one side all the power. The second that power was stripped away, divorce collapsed. And that's why this isn't just a local issue. It's the biggest culture shift in family law in decades.
Word, man. W video. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. At the end of the day, I think this is a net positive for everybody. You know, again, it's easy as a man to just side with the man and, you know, champion for the brothers, but I think it's gonna be good for the ladies too. Like, y'all need to, at the end of the day, if you're not a gold digging B, you know, you want to be in your marriage. You want your marriage to last. You want both parents in the child's life. So I feel like there's a net positive, but I'm excited to hear y'all feedback. I know some of them golden shovel women, they're raging right now. They punching the air, gang.
Where you at, Berto? I made this shit look too easy.